This is St. Nicholas Albanian Church today on June 19th here at Maynardville Beach Park in Port Washington, Long Island, New York. And some Albanian guys are playing soccer. Kisha Nicholas në Queens sot në 19 qershor në kamping këtu në Port Washington. Pjesa tjetër e antarëve të kësaj kishe ose njerëzve që shkojnë në kishë janë këtu tani, under këto shezlongjet. Këtu është ashtu pastori e kishës, Nathan Preston me mjekër, përpara saj gruas me bluzë të kuqe. Këtu tavolina shtruara. This is the Nathan Preston. This is Nathan Preston, the pastor of the church, speaking with some Albanian people there. This guy has the jersey of one of the Albanian soccer teams in Albania. It's November 17th team. Represents Tirana, the capital. Si djaloshi ka bluzën e 17 nëndorit. Si tjetri ka bluzën e kontarës, kuqezi. It's the Albanian flag on the ball. Albanian guys playing volleyball. This is Mr. Lofunders on the back with his blue shirt, talking to somebody. He's a treasurer of the church and member of the Albanian community there. Lofunders talking to somebody else from the church. Here's the Albanian community of the church, St. Nicholas, having the picnic. Albanian guys playing soccer. It's another part of Albanian CD. Going to soccer game.
Go! Whoa!
Albanian woman watching the game, taking pictures also. No. This is a picnic, again, Albanian community, St. Nicholas Church in Queens. I'm going to talk with Father Preston now. He's talk a little bit about the picnic, what do you think?
Yes, I know. Where else? How many?
Ai gëzuar!
Gëzuar!
Gëzuar në mot! Unë kisha, ajo iko dhe vajna. Ku janë korçart, po si dhe këto? Iku por si pisha, lato mirë mua s'ma Iku por si
These are people from Forza in Albania singing Forza songs.
Ku vajti lujma, hajde se dhe këto. Dhe kurbet, Adelina. Landi ishte i mërshata, shuri. Hajde gëzuar. Gëzuar, atë lumë të.
Can you tell me what this song all about?
It's all about the Korça. Korça is the best city in the world.
Okay.
You know? And when I think about Korça, I think about situation of Korça. Kur vini mandeni lart nga
Serenata?
Jo, s'është shumë.
Andaj bënim serenata po. Si qështë e vendi pa.
Korça is a very cultural city in Albania. Everybody agrees with this, I think.
Sure.
And we like his culture, and we like his music, its music.
He's quite a singer. He's quite a singer. Singing Korça songs, romantic That's quite romantic.
Look him,
You're a romantic guy, still.
Mos më mundo moj nene, mos më qorto moj nene, syze zama kashtane, me syne saj të zi. La 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 la.
But it's not too hot, and it's just a nice time when we gather and celebrate family and being together. It's a wonderful occasion.
Now, how long have you been doing this? For how many years?
That would be a good question to ask someone who may have been to more of them than I have.
Okay.
I was here last year, I was here this year, but I know it's been going on for much longer than that.
So again, if I can re-ask that question, so the main purpose of the picnic is to bring people together?
Well, the main purpose of picnic is to bring people together, that's right. We gather on Sunday mornings to celebrate being together in Christ. It's good for us to be together apart from church as well.
Okay, so, and I guess I see a lot of families here with kids and I guess relatives too.
Yeah, if you go to one table, probably they'll tell you how they're related to the people at the next table. You could walk through the whole place, learning people's family relationship during the whole trip.
Is this beside Pashka, which is Easter in English we say, is this the second most largest activity that you do at the church, or are similar ones also?
Probably, although Christmas there's a good turnout, but this is the time when we get to come and to see each other. You know, people come for Pashka, and they come and they get the holy fire, many stay for communion, but we don't get a chance to sit and to eat and to chat and spend the day together, so this is that.
And is this tradition going to continue? People's going to come next year? In great numbers, in big numbers like today?
As far as I know, yeah. As far as I know.
And what do you find significant at the church that you are, you know, basically helping now, or you know, as let's say pastoring now? What do you find it interesting or different from other churches you might have been? Is like community, is specific, tradition?
That's a good question. Think about it.
Okay. I guess, you know...
every community is different.
It's different, exactly.
Every community is beautiful in its own way. I think,
exactly.
One of the most precious things about the Albanian people is their hospitality, their sense of care for other people.
Exactly.
And you see that today. You see all of these children running around together with parents unconcerned because they all know that each parent here is keeping an eye on them. That's a wonderful thing, and it doesn't happen everywhere. So
sure.
That's very special.
Definitely, and I guess the tradition here in this church is Orthodox Christian, which is, I guess, traditional Christian. So,
yes.
Can you tell me a little bit more about it? You know, what's that significant from, let's say, Protestant Christians or let's say Catholic Christians?
Many of the people here, but not all, are members of the Orthodox Church, the Orthodox faith. That means that we are Christians and we trace our roots back to Christ himself. You know, just 2 weeks ago, we celebrated Pentecost, which we consider the birth or the anniversary of the church, where the Holy Spirit came to the apostles and gave them the grace to go out and to preach to the world. All of the people that you see here who are Christians bear the works of those first apostles. That same grace is with us. That same activity of praising God to the best of our ability is here, is with us. That same love and rejoicing in Christ is our great tradition. That's what it means to be Orthodox. You know, there are many types of Christians, and we hope that one day all Christians will be able to live together, to celebrate together, to rejoice together, and to be together in every way. But the Orthodox Church is one that strives at all times to keep the faith rightly, to keep the faith purely. And that's what brings us here today.
Oh, that's very interesting. As a shepherd of this community, what do you think, why people, if you have to have a message for other people to join this picnic next year, why should that come? What's the beauty, or what's good for this, about this activity, so people can join next year?
Oh, well, you know I'm the priest, so I have to tell people, coming to the picnic is wonderful.
Okay.
Coming to the church is better.
Okay.
But we're happy to see you anywhere, whether it's in the church, whether it's at the picnic, or whether it's on the street. But I think that the picnic is a special time for us to experience our shared life. That's what our faith teaches us. We do not live as individuals, we live as a community. And it's a difficult thing to realize ourselves as a community only on Sunday morning. When we're able to spend the day together, we're able to spend the time together, and we're able to share the table with each other. We realize that we are not Christians alone, we are Christians only with each other.
Yes.
That's our faith. That's this picnic. So.
Definitely, Father. So, and What do you think? Do you have any plans to learn Albanian anytime soon, down the road in the future?
I'm working on it very slowly, so
Okay.
I have to be very grateful to all the people around me who are very patient with me. And I know enough, little by little, vetëm pak.
Vetëm pak, nga një qik, po, patjetër.
Yes.
Father, if you have to say a final message for people about the church, why they should join St. Nicholas Albanian Church, it would be nice if you can say something.
Christ taught us that the world would know us by the love that we have for each other. People think of coming to church as an obligation. People think of coming to church as becoming a member, as though we're some sort of club. The church is the house of God. These people you see around me are the family of God. We want every person to have the luxury to have great joy of belonging to this family. That's it. That's the message of Christ.
That's great, Father Nathan. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay, together with me now I have the brother of Luke. Can you introduce yourself, sir?
Albert Fundo.
Albert Fundo. Albert, ti je vllai I Luit. Sa kohë ke qenë këtu në këtë kishë?
Kemi këtu në këtë kishën që kur unë nis kishën.
Ku, në çfarë viti?
Në 48 kur ardhëm nga Shqipëria atëherë. Pastaj u dojt kisha.
Po.
57 bëm kishë të re. Në 59 dhe që atëherë jemi mbajtur me kishën këtu.
Unë bisedova me Luin kur isha herën e fundit në church për Pashkët, edhe ishte një histori, domethënë shumë në rënqethse edhe mrekulli. Ai më shpjegoi dhe kisha ishte gati për të mbyllur, po mendimin e Perëndis, domethënë qëndroi u hap edhe më shumë njerëz erdhën nga Shqipëria edhe kisha filloi të rritet. Është e vërtetë në atë vështirësinë? Mund ma shpjegosh një çik më shumë?
Neve kishim nisur dhe me bëm kishën të vogël, se s'kishim vend, nuk kishim njerëz. Po me Perëndin ju lutme dhe Perëndia hapi urdhën e Shqipërisë. Edhe me atë u nisën 2 familje, 3 familje I bumë në Richwood atëre, në 11 në 12, edhe të shi janë për 20.000 veqëm në Richwood.
Po. Domethënë ti vetë ke lindur në Shqipëri?
Unë jam lindur në Shqipëri, ardha këtu për kje 13 vjetë, dhe vlajke 8 vjetë, 4 vjetë. Ku ke lindur në Shqipëri? Në Korçë.
Korçë në qytet?
Korçë.
Si e mën Korçën, kur e le?
Mirë, se vem në Korçë 2-3 herë në vit, kemi investime atje, kemi në përven dhe një hotel.
Një hotel, po, shumë mirë që ndihmoni korçarët me punësim, po ashtu. Është gjë e mirë. Tani çfarë mendoni për këtë piknikun këtu?
Këtë piknikun unë nisa këtë vjetë të shkuara.
Po.
Edhe kemi mbajtur me tërë të vinë dhe me këshitarë. Kishim pak njerëz, se kemi shumë njerëz.
Po, pastori, domethënë, Preston më shpjegoi që pikniku është një gjë e mirë që I sjell njerëzit së bashku, familjet. Është një
Ata që vinë në kishë vinë në piknik.
Po, gjë e mirë.
Edhe takojmë këtu.
Po, çfarë shikon ti si një gjë me shumë vlerë nga pikniku? Kush është një gjë e mirë nga pikniku?
Për fëmijët e mbajnë në mend, edhe rriten me piknikun e kanë dhe me qëllim shumë të mirë.
Aha. Edhe është një mundësi për të folur shqip, domethënë piknik, fëmijët?
Fëmija flashin shqip, edhe shqip dhe anglisht. Shumë anglisht e shqip, po nisin të lidhen bashkë.
Lexova aty në internet, në faqen e kishës që keni një kurs për gjuhën shqipe. Si është, mund të shpjegosh pak më shumë për kursin?
Nismi tash kjo është shumë e re që nismit që duan dhe me këtë nismin për fëmijët të mësojnë pak shqip, sa të mundin më pak. Po. Kemi dy mësuese shumë të mira. Edhe me atë rast tash duan të hapin derën gjuhës të shqipet jetën edhe në vendin e kishës.
Patjetër. Father Preston, I was asking him about the Albanian course that you run at the church. So, can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Sure. We have an Albanian class. This last year it met weekly after our Sunday school. it's an opportunity for the young people in our parish to preserve their tradition, to learn the language. You know, many of our younger people speak Albanian at home, but they don't necessarily know how to read or write. They go to school here, but in order to keep the language intact, they need a little bit more formal training. On the other hand, we have some of our young people who don't speak Albanian at home. So it's a nice introduction for them to learn some of the prayers in Albanian, to learn some of the basic words, so that hopefully it inspires them to be more interested in it at a future time.
Definitely, and I see your church here as a ray of light for those people to get together and read and learn about the word of the Lord and Christ, and basically cherish each other and grow each other as a community.
That's correct. Community is how we should understand ourselves in all aspects of our life, but especially as Christians.
Yeah, definitely, and I see the church actually, not rather a building, but the church itself is the people who come together. That's the church, I understand. So I guess you follow the same spirit, the same tradition in your church?
We do. Actually, today is All Saints' Day, and when we think of all the saints, we have to imagine that we are not just the followers of the saints. We are expected to join them in worshiping God. We are all expected to wind up in heaven praying with them. And so we best start here, understanding ourselves as His community, as a praying community, as people together trying to live out a life of faith.
What do you see some of the challenges for this church to grow, or to expand or reach your target goals that you have?
Well,
you need a bigger building, or you need you need more literature, or in both languages, or you need more classes, or
all of the
some of the challenges that every church has, I guess.
All of the things that you've mentioned are wonderful things, but I think the challenge for us is not in facilities. The challenge for us is not in money, although sometimes that's tight. The challenge for us is to understand ourselves first and foremost as Christians, not just on Sunday, but throughout the duration of the week.
Yes.
To be praying people all the time. St. Paul says to pray without ceasing, and that's a challenge. How do we live in this life with its distractions? How do we live with our families and the many needs that they have and be Christian? How do we do that? Those are the challenges. Those are the real challenges. Whether our church is big enough, God will provide. Whether our hearts are big enough is up to us to work at.
That's interesting. I remember from the Bible is a message from Peter or Paul, who traveled throughout the Mediterranean area there, from I guess Israel up to Illyricum. He says from Jerusalem all the way to Illyricum, I have predicted or preached the gospel of Christ. And he mentioned the name Illyricum.
You were just mentioning St. Paul and how he had said that he had preached the gospel all the way to Illyria.
And Illyria actually is the predecessor name of today's Albania. So it's very interesting to me to see the deep history that this community and this nation goes back. So yes, you can go ahead.
That's true. There have been many great missionaries to Albania. Obviously, St. Paul we consider the first. There's a great history of faith in Albania, and it's important for us to remember that.
Definitely, Father Paston. So let me talk for a second now with another member of the church, Lloyd Fundos, and he's going to sit next to you. Louis, how are you today? Are you enjoying yourself?
Absolutely. The weather's perfect. Company's good.
You couldn't use the pool today, though.
No, actually, I have my own pool, so I don't need that. The kids get disappointed.
Okay, otherwise, great weather. I see a big crowd today. It's fantastic.
A lot of families.
A lot of families, yeah.
We've been doing this for. When I was a little kid, I remember we used to go to Van Cortlandt Park. Van Cortlandt Park was a huge complex, and we would find a group of tables that we would sit next to, and this was a big outing because everyone lived in apartments. They were happy to get out of the apartments to the outside. We'd have a raffle, and I have to tell you, I was a pretty lucky guy. I used to win the raffle a lot of times.
That's
Did
good.
Did you draw the number too?
No, I didn't.
So, how many years has been since you've been doing this, the picnic here?
It's got to be 60 years anyway.
60 years? Wow, it's a good tradition. It goes back.
In fact, I'll tell you, it's even longer because we have large pictures of 1937 where they had the picnics.
Do you have a display of the church? The history of the church with those pictures?
We have
a whole
that we've done in the books, the souvenir journals, but we've talked about doing that and having one corner where we can display these things.
Definitely, you should do that. Should be some kind of a hall, a small, a little, or just like a wall that you can put all the history through pictures.
Yeah.
That'll be a wonderful
it's
thing.
Fascinating, and you know, when you look at these pictures, 1935, 1937, it really, I recognize some of the people, but I don't recognize them that young. When I see them, I look, that's Aunt Elsie.
So the church was basically founded before you came to the church, joined the church?
The church was founded in 1942.
42, okay.
That's when they decided they wanted to have a church in New York.
Do you remember the founding people, founding members?
Oh yeah, we have the 11 original board members that put $1 in each.
Wow, what a sacrifice. Yes.
Six people. No, they work 6 days a week. So Sunday they would go door to door knocking, saying, you know, we need money to build a church. I mean, as a businessman, with my education, I would look at this task as impossible. I probably never started. It never crossed their minds. They had a mission, and they did what it took. And they were able to, you know, raise enough money to buy a Protestant church on 48th Street. And that was the first Albanian church. And then, as people spread out from the inner cities into suburbs, I would say probably more than half ended up in Queens. So then they started looking for a piece of property here, which upset the other half because Manhattan was centrally located. So this went on and on for a few years. Finally, the decision was made. And Father Lyland's father, Evan Lyland, who was always very active at church, found this piece of property which was close to where they lived, and called her and said, listen, this old lady has passed away, the house is up for sale, and, you know, I know the broker, and that's what got started. So that's how we ended up in Maryland.
Evan, okay. So can you mention some other names as founders beside him?
The Pachari family was well-to-do. They had a restaurant downtown. They're very active in the church.
What's their last name again?
Pachari.
Pachari, yeah. Very well-known last name in Korcha.
Katsuli.
Katruli, okay.
Bill
Bill
Katsuli.
Katruli.
And one of the Gregories.
Gregories.
Large clan.
It shows the love for Christ that Albanians always have had as a Christian nation, and being together and preaching the good word.
They grew up in the church. You know, this is the problem we have with the people who come up now. They really have not grown up in the church, and it's difficult. We didn't know any better. We grew up. The altar boys would go to Sunday school. We learned. Most of us stray away when we go to college and all this other stuff. That's pretty normal, but your roots are established. So now the real challenge is to establish the roots for the young people. So they understand this is a big country, it's easy to get lost. So you have to have some identity of who you are. And I think that's why the Albanian heritage and religion, these are things that are unique to America. You can do these things and no one bothers you about it. You know, in other places, you got to do it in secret. So it's an opportunity. And the opportunity is there. Father's here. People don't want to take it. It's not our fault. We're doing our best, but we can't give up.
Definitely the opportunities are there in this country. We got to seize that. As Father Preston said, there are certain challenges to grow the church. And Father Preston mentioned spiritually one of those, to strengthen the faith and get the message through in a more effective way. What do you see some of the challenges right now for the church to grow and to bring the Albanian community stronger together?
One of the challenges is location and the size of New York City.
Okay.
It's a big problem. You know, in the old days, you walk to a church in small towns here in Albania, and you walk to church. It's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and you're there. Now, people have to get in cars. it's a big challenge trying to bring them in on a regular basis.
We have members from more than 3 states.
When they say tri-state areas, yeah, it's true.
Within I would say a 3 or 4 hour radius, we have people coming, and so that's difficult for them to come on a regular basis.
Although difficult, it amazes me that the passion those people have to travel out of state and come join the church. That's significant.
Some of them are members and they'll send their annual pledge because it's important for them to support something. They want to feel part of something.
Definitely.
Even if they can't come every week. And that's one of the big challenges. The second challenge, I think, is really how do you take a group of people that have suffered under communism for 2 generations, where religion was banned, and give them their faith back in a second. Some of them remember grandparents. They say, you know, my grandmother used to do this to me. My father used to go in the back and give me a cross or a little icon. So there's some inklings of this, but they never had an opportunity to really practice that. It's a challenge, and it's something that, you know, the only thing that can really influence that is God's work. We try.
Exactly.
Do the best we can.
As the saying goes that we are saved by the grace of God. You know, besides or regardless of what we do, if we do the best work, is the grace of God that saves us, not our work. Although we got to do good deeds, at the end of the day, it's the grace that saves us. And that's a good point that you made. And Father Preston mentioned about spirituality, but I can relate to you because I know the generation that comes now, or even people, you know, let's say the second bracket of the age or third, they come from Albania. That was an atheistic country, and I understand your viewpoint that you need to work harder with them to reintroduce Christ to them and you know, on the faith, because it's been lost for 40 years.
I have to tell you, it's been 20 years since Albania opened up. The first family started coming in '91. Some people do have a family. Some people feel they need the church and the church needs them, and they feel part of something. And I always wonder, I say, why some people and not others, and why anyone family? So there's things there that happen that we don't understand.
Sure.
So we do the best we can, and then we take it from there.
Definitely, that's true. That's perfect. Right at the point. Lou, I like to talk to you about that made an impression to me. You discussed last time when we talked together about the difficulty the church had at one moment, was almost very close to be closed down. Yes. And then by the grace of God, that was turned all around, and more families came from Albania, more people came, and the church survived. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Well, you know, this is
how that happened. It was close to be shut down and then survived.
So it's an Orthodox church that was in the Albanian Archdiocese. In America, you know, the ethnicity, second, third generation starts getting lost. And what we had happening was intermarriage. Kids were marrying Americans, Catholics, Protestants, non-denominational, and they were spreading out. So the church was becoming older and older in age, and people were going to die. You know, they're not going to be here forever.
Sure.
So we were down to probably 65 families.
Okay.
And then we started looking at the local area and seeing if there's other Orthodox. And some of the Greeks were not happy because the churches did everything with Greek. They felt Orthodox they could relate to another church. We had some Palestinians, some other people from Romanians that were comfortable to come to our church. And we opened our arms to everyone.
Sure.
And so that was a transition period where we thought the Albanian portion would get smaller and smaller and smaller. And if the other portion wasn't big enough, the church would have to close.
Yeah.
And by the grace of God, 1990 comes and we get flooded with more people than we know what to do with. Granted, they needed jobs and this, but it was an opportunity for the church.
Oh, I see. And look at the church today. Is a good you know point or pivot for the community to come together. So
it's up to the newcomers to understand that they're the ones that have to carry the way so forward.
Yeah.
We can provide some leadership. We can provide some.
They carry the torch, yeah.
But they're the ones that really have to carry it. They have to understand that it's not just a social part, the social is part of it. There is a spiritual participant. And I'll tell you, one of the problems, and I remember when I was young, because they didn't come from a background of very spiritual, they were lost in life. And then they tried to have an Albanian center in Queens, and that kind of kept them together a little bit. But it wasn't that weekly or bi-weekly you see your buddy. You have a reason to come in. You go for the service, or you have coffee with them. So that community really was hurting from that perspective, and that's something the Orthodox don't appreciate. Again, there's something here already.
Sure, definitely.
And it's for them to take the best of it, and for them to give it. America is a very unique country. One of the things you're taught at a young age is you have to give something back.
Definitely.
Albanians are not used to doing that. They used to take
Spirit of charity, of giving.
They're used to taking and also helping their immediate family, but not other people in general. And, that's not. We were raised with the Protestant ethics, because that's what was predominantly. And we're just used to. If I've done some good things, it's because some people have done some good things for me. And you're the beneficiary at times. That's a lesson they have to learn.
Sure.
We think we do everything by ourselves. We think we're responsible for everything that happens around us in our families. And then when you analyze things, you realize how much sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's providence.
Sure.
It doesn't mean hard work isn't part of the formula.
Sure.
But hard work alone is not going to.
That's true.
So it's a matter of finding that balance.
Definitely.
And really passing on the faith to their children. Because faith's been around for 2,000 years, it's been around for another 2,000 years. We just have to do our little part.
And I was talking with Father Preston a little bit. You have an Albanian course in the church. I think is a good thing. What can you tell a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think Father's been more involved. We have 2 or 3 ladies that are willing to teach Albanian on Sunday after church, and there is a need. And I don't think the newcomers appreciate it because they still speak Albanian at home, so they think the kids are going to pick it up. Take it from someone that came at the age of 5. By the time you're 7 and 8, you don't want to be heard speaking Albanian. You're embarrassed. So you fight it. It's still like the Greeks have the Greek school. They say to the kids, you're young enough, it's not a choice. You go to that class, that type. And then they appreciate it.
Definitely, diversity is a great thing in this country, so we should keep that unique spirit, Albanian language, history, and tradition as like a contribution to the culture of this country, and definitely is a great thing.
Listen, there's no question.
Lou, is anything special you like to tell people in Albania about this church? Unique, if they come to America, the reason to visit the church?
Well, I think the reason to visit it is to, one, see what survived before and after communism. See how important the faith was to people that they were able to keep the church going. And hopefully understand that it should be part of their life.
Definitely.
And they're welcome.
And the church is always open door and welcome for those people to come and share the faith with you. Now, regarding the future plans, what do you see the church going?
Well,
Father said something. I just wanted you to add something.
Well, we just finished a physical expansion, so we're through doing those things for a long time.
Sure.
Now it's a matter of reaching out a little more to the community, letting them know we're there, and trying to get them involved so that they participate in their own way in the problems after they've learned. This is a challenge.
Okay.
One thing about America, they're always working, they're always too busy. And, you're competing for people's time. Whether you admit it or not, that's really the sacrament. And therefore, they have to understand that you have to make it's not a matter of education. My mother probably had a 6th grade education. So she had the Bible in Greek. And she would read it occasionally. She probably read it a lot, so she read it differently. And the thing was falling apart. I said, "Why don't you get a new one?" No, she says, "This is fine." And faith is not a matter of education. Faith is faith. She had faith. She obviously gave it to her children.
Sure.
So, you do the best you can, and you hope that they'll understand. And part of it is education too, in the sense that you got to learn it.
Definitely.
You have to feel the faith. You have to understand where Christ was. I went to Jerusalem in 1977.
Oh, okay.
First time in my life. The only time. And I have to tell you, it is a little bit of a life-changing experience when you see places described in the Bible, which you always thought were kind of myths, not real. And then all of a sudden, there is a Sermon on the Mount. The Mount is really real. And, go to Bethlehem, and you see the grotto there, and that's where Christ was born. I guess it's not only faith, it's really historical too. It's things that come out of this, and this is where Christ was did this. And, it took us 2,000 years, so when you put it in time perspective, it's an amazing place. I recommend it for everyone to go at least once. It gives you a different view. I went to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Christ was crucified. There was a little Greek monk handing out incense. I said hello to him in Greek. He went crazy. He stops the line. He's giving me 3 pounds of stuff, and I've got to load this in suitcase. And I said to him, listen, there are a lot of people behind me. He says, don't wait, don't worry. He says, I don't see someone that can speak Greek whatsoever. So, and the other fascinating thing about Jerusalem, we grew up in this country. Orthodoxy is a minority religion. Protestants were the dominant ones, large Catholic population. So, in my mind, the largest groups are always the Protestant and Catholic. And you go to Jerusalem, and all the holy sites are under the control of the Orthodox Church. Because the Orthodox Church was first. And you see, they consent to give the Catholics a new chapel. They consent to give the Protestants a new chapel. And I thought it was hilarious because here it's just the opposite. The Orthodox have to fight for this little chapel over here. And it just goes to show history when you really learn more about it. It's fascinating. You realize that while there's one church and we've kind of split it, human beings have done that. I think the reality is there's only one.
Sure.
Anyway, you come.
Definitely.
I haven't seen the second one. Let's do it.
Lou, I wanted to ask you about the St. George in Boston. Do you have any cooperation with them? Do they help you? Because it comes across they are a bigger church. Father Leland is there, and they have also, of course, a school, Albanian school there. Yeah. So what's your relationship with them?
Well, they're part of the Archdiocese. We're part of the same.
That is the cathedral church of our diocese. Our bishop has his seat there.
Bishop Nikon?
Bishop Nikon. But he comes to visit us as often as he can. Unfortunately, he's very busy.
Sure.
But we are a daughter church, I guess is the best way to put it.
There's about 15 roughly churches in the Archdiocese that are all under the auspices of the Albanian Archdiocese.
Oh, okay.
And then the Albanian Archdiocese belongs to the Orthodox Church of America.
Of America, okay.
So we, in fact, we're very close to them because Father Leland grew up here, Bishop Nikon grew up here. So, there's always a connection.
Sure, Father Leland speaks Albanian. I've heard him on TV several times.
They both do.
Yeah.
He was a liberal arts man.
From Bobošnica, originally.
He's learned some Obviously, that's decided to become a priest. In the Albanian Orthodox,
Father Preston, do you get any help from St. George? What's your nature of relationship? It's like reciprocal. You help each other. Lou, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.
Reciprocal, in a certain sense. Again, we're a daughter church. That is the center of our diocese. So our bishop is there. He comes to visit us. Our chancellor is there. When I have problems, I call Father Arthur, or I email Father Arthur, or His Grace Bishop Nikon. We meet together at least once a year, and in different churches throughout Massachusetts, throughout New York, and various other places. So yes, I guess it's a reciprocal relationship, but they are again the mother church and where we turn to when we have problems.
Sure, definitely. Do you see any avenues of expanding the relationship in the future? And if yes, what avenues, or what ways that expansion might be in better cooperating with them as a mother church?
I'm open for suggestions.
Okay. You need more literature in Albanian from them. You need more pastors from them, come time after time, visiting pastors or fellow pastors, or financially you need more help from them.
I don't think any of those things in particular. Again, in the same way that we, members of this community of St. Nicholas, exist together as a family, the community of St. Nicholas exists as one member of the family of the Albanian Archdiocese.
Sure.
And the Albanian Archdiocese exists as a member of the family of the Orthodox Church. So all of these, we are a family from one level to another level.
Yes.
So we look towards them, we respect them and love them, and we get along with them, and we help each other as best we're able.
Definitely, that's the right way. Father Preston, thank you so much.
Of course, it's my pleasure.
So, edhe një herë Deni, një minut ta marr atë. Ta marr shqiponjën edhe një. Mund të thesh brapa me kurriz. Do më thënë, nëna ta dha dhurat bluzën? Ktheu përpara. Nëna ta dha dhurat bluzën? Për ditëlindje? Kur? Për Christmas? Krishtlindje? Vit të ri? Datëlindje? Shumë mirë. Mirë Deni, atë luaj futboll. Ditën e mirë.